fire. So the Chicago Bears have an opportunity for the number one overall pick. They face Detroit coming up while Houston is playing Indianapolis. So I'll ask you, Factor Cap, the Chicago Bears should try to lose out to get that number one overall pick.
Well, that's facts. I mean, I don't, as much as you can try, like I said, I don't want to take Justin Fields out of the game. That's just, I guess, my selfish preference for watching the Bears game. I would have like zero interest in watching the Bears game if Justin wasn't playing. But yes, we do need to lose these games. I hope the Titans win. I think for us, luckily, we're just playing two teams that are going to beat us. So I'm not really worried about it. Maybe we might be able, the Lions, I guess, I don't know. We got history of beating the Lions. The Lions aren't that good. They're just playing good, well coached. I don't think we're going to lose. The Vikings are going to beat us, and Justin Jefferson's going to get like 250 yards.
He's amazing. I would agree with you completely. I just think, in the dynamic of things, Detroit is a hot team right now. They're playing for a playoff spot. Minnesota, they'll be shooting for records. Justin Jefferson will be, but I think, that's going to be pretty wound up. If Philadelphia ends up losing, then Minnesota has a shot at that number one overall seed. Their playoff positioning is pretty much settled right now. They're NFC North champs already. They already clinched that. There's there's no plan for the division at that point. But I still think Justin Jefferson chasing records is going to be a big, thing for Minnesota. I think they come out and they beat us as well. So I would agree with you completely. I just think I think in the long run, long term things, I really think the Bears, just that number one overall pick, is worth so much, especially since we don't need a quarterback. If Houston falls in love with, Bryce Young and they get a whim, even if the Bears are the ones that are saying, hey, Houston, this team's communicating with us about jumping you to come up and get Bryce Young. What do you have to offer? Anything like that. So yeah, it's going to be a fun dynamic to see, especially play out in the offseason. I'm going to love it. So number two, Davante Adams and DeAndre Hopkins are possible availabilities in terms of wide receivers for the Bears in the offseason. Davante Adams, obviously, with that issue in Las Vegas with Derek Carr being benched. They're saving his health for a possible offseason trade. And then you have the abysmal Arizona Cardinals and everything that's going on there, with Cliff Kingsbury probably being out the door, as well as Kyler Murray missing all of next year because of his torn ACL. So I asked Factor Cap, Davante Adams or DeAndre Hopkins will be wide receiver one for the Chicago Bears next year.
I'd like to say Fact, but I'm going to say Cap. I don't think they're going to get a deal done for any one of those guys. I think we're going to end up drafting a wide receiver because we're going to fall too far back to get Carter or Davis. And I think Addison or that kid from TCU is going to be our wide receiver one next year. I really do. I'm trying to be optimistic, but in a perfect world, that is who I want. I think D-Hop or Davante Adams would be great. I don't know what I would have to see the Davante Adams contract and how big of a fucking
31 mil would be the cap hit
for us a year. Yeah, that's a lot.
But it's a 5-year deal.
Yeah, and it probably gets bigger each year too.
Yeah, it jumps from, I think it ranges from 31 to 36 over the course of those 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know how much I want Davante Adams for that price. I would much rather have D-Hop. His contract's probably 25 or some shit like that.
19.6.
Well, that's not, yeah, like I said, I'd much rather have him. And I think, like we were talking about earlier, he's already proven he can play with anybody at quarterback. He's played with Josh Rosen, fucking Colt McCoy, Kyler, when he was in he was with D-Hop, before D-Hop, all those shitty Texans quarterbacks. So I think he's proven that it don't matter who's at quarterback, he's going to be fine. And I don't know if we've seen that from Davante Adams yet.
I would agree. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to happen? No.
That's not the Bears' luck.
No. It's not just. I don't think it's in. I think in Ryan Poles' vision, I don't think that fits his vision.
I think we get Payne. Right now, I think we will get one of the top 5 defensive players who are free agents. So I think
agents, yeah, absolutely.
I'm 1,000,000%. I think Poles will get one of those guys. I think it'll be Payne. just looking at it right now, I don't think he's coming back in Washington, so he's definitely going to hit the market. And I think the Bears basically got a blank check for a pass rusher. So, and I think it'll be, or you know what I mean, somebody on the D line. They're getting a blank check, whatever the max is, whatever the fuck the market setting deal is going to be. They're going to be getting it from Ryan Poles.
All right, number 3, Velus Jones had his best game as a professional last week. He caught 2 balls for 56 yards. He seemed to be running routes pretty well. Returned a couple of kicks for a good amount of yardage. Set up the Bears in really good field position. So I asked you, Cap, these next 2 games are absolutely important and indicative for Velus Jones Jr.'s career for him to show up and prove that he could be in the NFL next year.
That's facts. Yeah, he has to get in. He has to show something. Like I said, I think they need to feature him a little bit more because he just is the way he fumbles. Like unless he makes major strides in the offseason and like becomes friends with Justin, he's got to go. The fumbles. I mean, he ran a nice route on that deep pass to Fields, but I mean, he still only had 2 catches in the game. He had a nice little jet sweep. It kind of got some yardage, but again, I don't know. Getsy's got to be getting him the ball too. So it's not all on him, but I don't know if he's put the fear in him with the fumbles, but he does need to show us. I don't think we're waiting for training camp to give him another shot. We need to see it right now, or we're just going to draft another guy and you're never going to get a chance in the field again.
Yeah, like you said, everybody was calling for his head before last week because of the fumble issues, the drops, stuff like that. So these next 2 games are going to be extremely imperative for his career. I'm not saying he has to go out and have a 100-yard game, but he's got to go out and show he's competent as a route runner, as a ball handler. He's got to be able to hold on to that football. Don't fumble another fucking ball. The next 2 games, whatever you do, I don't care if you're going back there, returning punts again. You fumble on a kickoff. I will if he does it again, if he fumbles again this season, especially in when the game's on the line, he will not. If I'm Ryan Poles, he will not be on the team the next day. I will cut him right then and there. There's no reason for that. If you can't hold on to the football, you can't be a professional football player. Those are just facts. It's just the way it is. All right. This one's the last one. I know we're only doing 4 this week. So Justin Fields has an opportunity, obviously, next year with a new offense, new weapons, year 3 of his career, as well as year 2 of, this current system. Expectations are going to be high. So I ask you, Factor Cap, Justin Fields will be considered an MVP candidate next year.
I'll say facts. I don't know if he'll be a top runner, like a front runner, but I do think his numbers will be up there. I think he'll have over 3,000 yards passing and probably 800 to 1,000 rushing yards. And what is he? He's at 24 total TDs right now and 10 picks. I think he'll be something like probably 35 total TDs and 10 picks next year. So it'll be hard to keep him out.
Well, this question I kind of attribute this question to the hype that surrounded Trubisky after, the year that he had going into, after 2018 going into 2019. Yeah. Where, everybody thought he was going to take this major step forward. Obviously, we saw how that played out. He didn't. But I also think that Justin Fields is a much more talented quarterback than Mitch Trubisky ever was. I just think that a lot of popular bets with the way that he was talked about earlier being a possible MVP candidate, I think that it's going to translate into next year. I think there's going to be a lot of hype, especially if the Bears do something drastic in the offseason to bring in a number 1 wide receiver. I would not be surprised if you see a lot of bets in Vegas placed on Justin Fields as a MVP candidate, and he opens up somehow, probably within the top 15 of MVP votes in terms of betting. I would not be surprised by that at all because, like I said, the hype train is very real.
I think he won't be top 5, but I do think as it goes.
No, I said top 15.
Oh, 15. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, top 15. Because the hype train is very real in the NFL.
What is he in fantasy points? He's probably one of the top fantasy point scorers.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see what hype does, in terms of just players in general. You take a look at a player that we just dogged on earlier with Zach Wilson. He's absolute trash. He had one good pro day, one good throw in his pro day, and the hype train took him from being a fourth round quarterback pick to being the number 2 overall pick in the draft. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hype can take a player's stock from here and put it up here, regardless if he's earned it or not. I'm not saying Justin hasn't earned it, but you see the potential there with Justin Fields being an MVP caliber player. And if the Bears do something drastic in the offseason to help improve his position and improve that offense, then you're going to see a lot of people saying Justin Fields for MVP next year, or he's
I
going to be
do
a
think
popular bet in the offseason.
I think more so than any other time in our history, I do think we have a guy who I feel confident. I think Justin Fields will get an MVP.
Oh, at some point,
I
absolutely.
don't know if it'll be next year, but I just think he is a talented kid. And if, like I said, if Lamar got one, if the coaching staff and the team will get behind him, I think Justin Fields can get himself one too.
That's all I have for you today, man.
All right. Well, that was fun. Hopefully the Bears don't win. It should be a fun game, though. High